Khan Tawada Yahweh Bashamya Hamashiach Yahushai. Brakatah Yahweh Brakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises and honor and all glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well. Citation to the Akim in the four winds, preaching the truth with sincerity, risking their lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. Right? To you Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, you Akwatium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Ramya Howard up with the lesson. Hey, look, and we having a blessed day right here. This is good news right here. Silicon Valley Bank shuts down amidst liquidating crisis. Regulators seize assets. Global markets collapse, man. And this is the time we've been waiting for, man. We have been prophesying and telling you people that the global markets are going to shut down, man. So we're fastly approaching that day. Says U.S. regulators have taken control over Silicon Valley Bank after it was shut down, making it the largest retail bank failure since the 2008 financial crisis. Yeah, it says the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC, on Friday announced that it has taken control of the customer deposits of the lender, which is roughly about $1.75 billion. The regulators typically protects deposits up to 250,000, right? So only about a half a mil.
When the banks close and people panic and they can't get their money, I was just reading about a gentleman at the Silicon Valley Bank. They actually called the cops on him. He had $10 million seized, okay, at the Silicon Valley Bank. $10 million. He's not going to get back. The FDIC, guys, only protects up to $250K, even if they pay that back. So if you've got pensions, retirement accounts, Roth IRAs, they're going to go away. I don't know how else to share or break the bad news to you. They're going to go bye-bye. They're going to go gone. I mean, at the very least, you should be diversifying.
Yeah, this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 6, man. We're finally here. Let's just say it. Let's get it out the way. We're finally here. We've been prophesying about these banks are going to start closing down. You see that it said globally. And that's not going to be the only bank, man. All these banks and these organizations are linked in with each other. I mean, you've seen what happened with, was it Enron or whatever it was called? They were all linked to each other. Like, I never knew that their housing market was connected to our housing market until all that happened. So you got all this interconnection. So once the thing started collapsing, it's only a matter of time. Domino, you're gonna have that domino effect. And we've been telling you, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people, you Israelites, man, and you regular heathen, man. We've been telling you, but you know, we're ones who's so-called unlearned, you know, according to your system. And you know, hey, but the Most High reign true. So here it is. We at that time. So shall not all these take up a parable against him? You know, and a parable is like a common saying, right? Right? A thing that people may or may not be true, but it's a thing that they know you by. You know, wetback, spick. You're a nigger. You're a lazy nigger, right? You're just a drunk Indian, right? The things, the parables that they had about us, man. All these parables are gonna fall upon our enemy, which is Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, right? They're gonna cry after. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick, and then I'm gonna come back, because the whole thing with this is, yeah, this is Job chapter 30 verse 5, and yeah, the point I'm showing the Americans in 5, it says they were driven from amongst men. So at one point in time, You know, everybody knew better about these Edomites, man. They finally got fed up with these Edomites, and all the dark nations, you know, came together on this one consent that the Edomites was not good. It wasn't good for them to dwell amongst the other dark nations, with the driven them amongst away from us into the Caucasus Mountains, right? And that was a lovely 1,000 years, man, right? When they weren't able to deceive the nations, you know, things were a lot more peaceful, man. You know, even though, you know, people war against each other, because that's just, you know, the Lord is a man of war, so war still went on, but it was just different. War was different than the way war is today. Esau is nasty. He will pull anything out to win. You know, he'll women, children, elders. He don't care who he hits, right? Just so as long as he wins. But you know that whole saying that they used to say about them is finna come to fruition all over again. They cry after them as after a thief. Hey, and that saying's finna come back. Yeah, so you know everybody's gonna, you know, the whole thing is gonna come right back around, right? That's why they're saying how long. I mean, they come up with these Salakia. They come up with these proverbs, man, and the elect is saying how long, Salakia, right? Because the rest of these people there in Falalala land, and you know they can see the whole world is crumbling behind them, but they're or all around them, and they're hopeful that this place stands, and we're hopeful that this place be destroyed. See, our hope is in two different places, man. You know. So it says, yeah, and have a proverb against them, and yeah, and a taunting proverb against him, saying, "Woe unto him that increased that which is not his." Right. So how long dealing with the prophets, man? Because these people vote in these presidents time and time again that they lie. So, you know, they're not really saying how long. To him that layeth up, layeth to layeth unto to him that layeth himself with thick clay. Right? Let's go into that. See, because we've been saying
Strong's H 5671 Avteet.
yeah, they say aptit, but a bot yet, or a bot yet, or a bot, right? Because it goes into weight of pledge, right, or heavy debt. So let's go, you know, because this is what this country's in. It's ultimately about debt, and they're way in over their head with debt, right? So the not only are the citizens in debt, the country's in debt, right?
Strong's H 5670
Yeah,
Avat.
see, a bot yet, or a bot yet, a bot. So it says to take a pledge, right? And the pledge is basically the same thing like when you go to a what do you call them things? They're pawn shops, right? Basically, a pledge is like you take something to a pawn, they give you money, and that's like your pledge. You're supposed to come back and come and get it. So that's basically a pledge. It says give a pledge, right? So that's like a pawn shop. You give pledge for a debt. See, and ultimately you they give you whatever interest or whatever, however they try to do it. You know. See, but Israelite to Israelite, you're not supposed to put in any usury or interest, right? But this devil is set forward to put things into interest, to put you into debt, into in interchange, right? Because you're exchanging. Hey, here's this thing, this pledge, to exchange for some money, and I'll come back and pay you back what I owe you, so I can get back my you know, your item, which is basically a pledge, right? says abat yet a to premium route to pawn. See, it's basically to put you in debt, man. It's like a pawn. Borrow, break, right? He leave you broke or break or yeah. So broke you break. You know what I mean? Right? Lend. You know what I mean? So basically, that's ultimately what this is, and this country has been on that. So that bank, was it Silicon Bank? You gave your money, which basically technically you were lending it to them, and they were supposed to take that money, invest, and they make money for them, but they don't really make money for you. And then you're supposed to get like this small interest on the money they taking your money to invest, instead of saying, hey, look, and put your money here, and because technically that's what the bank should have been. The bank should have been like a 401k. You shouldn't have to go to work to have a 401k. Your bank account should be a 401k on a daily basis. You know? Well, let's go back out, because basically this whole thing is going to go full circle, because it's going to say and they, which is Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 7, shall they not raise up suddenly, man? Seeing all these other nations, just like when they cried after him as a thief, it's gonna come all the way back around. They shall rise. Shall not they rise up suddenly, that shall bite thee. They're gonna come after these Edomites, man. The Edomite is gonna be chased row in this time, man. And awake, and shall vex thee. Right? It's gonna be nothing but race wars, riots, all sorts of calamities happening, man, because of this thing. Because of what? Because of this, not just the Silicon Valley Bank. All these banks are going to do this. And these are things we've been prophesying about. And thus shall be for booty, right? Money, right? And this is when this devil's going to go into slavery real soon unto them. But even now, man, people are going to be grabbing up these Edomites, because it's lack of bread, and you're gonna be grabbing up these Edomite women, man. You know how these Jakes, put a goddamn Edomite woman on a pedestal. That's gonna be a high commodity to trade an Edomite woman for a meal. even then, man, it's gonna be some things, man, that's happening in these last days, man. Even before you actually go into slavery, man. Before you go into the ultimate slavery under Yahweh Shai, right? Matter of fact, let me keep going, because this going into that, man. Because everybody's tired, man. They're gonna cry after you, like as after a thief, man. Because thus has spoiled many nations, right? And that's what ultimately these Edomites have been doing, so-called pretending to separate themselves. Oh, I'm a French Edomite, and I'm a Spanish Edomite. Oh, I'm way over here in Australia, and I did this, and I'm that. Yeah, but Hong Kong, remember what you did to them. What is it? Japan, remember the Hiroshima and Nagasaki that you did. And then I've heard there were actually more missiles than just those two that you teach. You teach us there was only Fat Boy and Little Man, but there were more missiles that you shot down on that. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention Ishmael, man. The Lord said that he should be a wild man. And he's finna go wild on you, which he did already, man. You spent 20 years in a war, and the Lord don't lie, man. Ishmael is a wild man. They said in a week they took over. They took back over. You took 20 years. They did it in a week, man. Billions of dollars. 20 years and billions of dollars later, and they took it over in a week with probably really nothing in their pockets. You know what I mean? But this is the thing. They cry after you as a cry after a thief, man. Right? Because you spoiled many nations, many people. Because of man's blood, right? Because you go in all these different wars. You've never really had peace. And for the violence of the land and of the city, right? Which is Babylon the Great. Mystery Babylon, which is not a mystery anymore. It's America, right? Which means bitter. right? It's that place that's spiritually Sodom, spiritually Egypt, right? And of all that dwell therein, right? And now their mentality is all you Americans are like that, right? So when they bring in their stormtroopers and they different things, because they say it's imminent, it's definitely gonna happen that China's gonna invade America, Russia's gonna invade America.
So I'll go ahead and explain the dream. In my dream, we were actually in Hilton Head. We were not in Orange Beach. We were in Hilton Head, and my family was there. My mom and dad, and my sisters, and my husband and my kids. And we were out on the beach, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, bombs started dropping all around us. And mass chaos ensued, as you would expect. Everybody freaking out, and we couldn't figure out exactly who was responsible for dropping the bombs, but we knew that it was from somewhere over in the east. It was either China or Russia. We just had this sense that the east is attacking the west. And so we mass chaos, everybody screaming, things, like the bombs were hitting the sand and just exploding and exploding and exploding, and it wouldn't stop. And so we all ran to our cars, and we were trying to get out of the area, and all of the roads started shutting down. And there was one dam that I don't know what this was in the dream, why this was important, but it was very prominent in the dream. And maybe if somebody if God speaks to you and tells you what this part was in the dream, and maybe you can tell me, you can help me with this. But there was a dam, and people were traveling through the dam, and that was our way out. And right before we started, almost kind of like the Holland Tunnel up in New York, that's not a dam, that's a tunnel, but that was kind of like how this was, but it was like elevated, and we were going through the dam, and we were getting ready to go through the dam. Other people were traveling through, and the dam shut down on both sides, and people got stuck in there, and we could hear like their screams and stuff, and they weren't letting anybody else out.
Or just weight on my shoulders to...
One night while I was there, I had a dream. And this dream, I was back home in Toronto, and I was walking around a city street, and as I looked up, I could see warplanes flying overhead. And for some reason, I knew that they were Russian planes and that they were going towards the U.S. And I'm not sure exactly how I knew, but I knew.
Foolish to prepare your heart with Jesus and to make sure you're right with God through the blood of the Lamb. In one of the dreams, I was speaking with an American soldier. And I was
well, Jesus ain't gonna save you. You're talking about the wrong lamb. That's a defiled sacrifice.
Telling him what it was that God was showing me in respect to China and Russia invading the United States. And as I was sharing the details with him, you could see that he was very sober by it. You could see that he took seriously what it was that I was saying to him. And my hope right now is that the people who are hearing this message would also take very seriously what I'm saying to you right now. God has shown me on a number of occasions the reality of the fact that...
So this is Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 6. He stood and measured the earth, right? Because what? The sins of this place have reached unto heaven, man. Right? He beheld and dove asunder the nations. Right? So the Lord said that think not that he come for peace, man, but division, man. He's gonna you nations are coming together to battle against each other, and then come together to battle against Yahweh Shai, but the Lord's gonna take you asunder, man. The nations and the everlasting mountains were scattered, right? So all you different governments, you're gonna be scattered, man. You're here, to be servants under the Israelites, man. Your biblical nationalities will be revealed unto you. Your rulership was only for a purpose. And those, you're still going to have rulers. That's why the Lord said the everlasting mountains, right? Because The Lord is still going to set you up at the end, but, you know, in your own places, but you're going to have to serve your 1,000 years of slavery. But first, the Lord's going to have to scatter you. The Lord's all about division, man. Right? The perpetual hills did bow, man. You're going to bow down to the Israelites, man. Starting with Yahweh Shai. His ways are everlasting. See, no, the Lord's ways are everlasting. So you're going to have to be separate. It's not going to be a new world order, right? A one world government where everybody's all together. No, 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 no. Right? Because you're CBDC, right? Under debts is a way you forward this place. And I saw the tents of Cushan, right? Which are basically like Egyptians, right? Because I guess they were just saying Egypt just signed to the BRICS, right? They just connected with Russia, and the curtains of the land of Midian's, right, did tremble, right? And that's Ishmael, man, right? Because the things that the Lord is bringing, man, the Lord is bringing judgment upon this world, man. So the things is, these are, what did it call? It was called blowback. So in all these things is blowback, right? Which blowback means what they call it, cause and reaction. So America's been rape, rob, plundering all these places and trying to get everybody to be like the image of the beast. And being that, I just did a lesson on it. These other places have made dams and closed up the rivers, right? Matter of fact, it's going to go into it. What was Yahweh displeased against the rivers? See? And the Lord already had set up the rivers to be a certain way. But these people built dams, and then they had treaties saying that they're supposed to push out a certain amount of gallons per minute, and then they're not doing it against Kuwait to basically make Kuwait bow down to them. But ultimately, it's going to affect everybody. It's going to have a blowback effect, and everybody's going to blame what? America, because that's been the model. That's the face of all these things. Even though really Great Britain runs all this stuff, but America has been the face of all these things, man. Been the face of freedom, right? Which really is debauchery, homosexuality, rebellion, right? You know, and it feels good. You know, like when you're young and you know, you have all these rules and I can finally, but then when you grow up and realize, dang, mom was actually, and dad was actually telling me what was right, because now all those things had repercussions. See, the Most High set up things. The river was already set up. You wasn't meant to put dams and things. So now other places, they're unable to get the water. But now it's going to have blowback effect as far as, you know, these tariffs and things and putting people in debt. And now the whole world's going to go through a global pandemic, food, water. You know what I mean? Right here it says, as thy anger against the river. See, now everybody's going to be going through these, not just the people because you put your dams. The Lord's going to dry up all these waters. The Lord's going to do something to allow even you that's just hogging up all the water. Things are going to happen, man. You're going to get afflicted, man. Was not thy wrath against the sea? Man, the Lord's finna, the Lord's finna put wrath on this whole place, man, on this earth. That thus did it ride upon the horses, right, and thy chariots of salvation, right? The Lord's finna bring those the chariots of the Most High, right, and to save the Israelites. But in the meanwhile, what? They're gonna be blasting laser beams at all you heathens in these different places. It's gonna look like the Lord is angry with the sea and with the rivers, right? Things are gonna happen, man. Yeah, so this is Ezekiel 38, and I'm gonna start at 3, and it says, and say thus, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, behold, which means feast your eyes, look, pay attention. I will, I am, right, which means really it means he is, because we're speaking in a third person, because aspect, he is or he exists against the old Gog, right? Which we know that they're not the Gog and Magog, but they're in that region of Gog and Magog, the ancient Gog and Magog, which is where Russia's at. And so now the Lord's referring to them as Gog and Magog, right? The chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, right, which is really the land where Japhet was at. These are Japhites, but we know that these are Edomites have conquered that land, within the last couple of thousand years or couple hundred years, and took over that land, right? And even Apostle Har goes into that. Russia goes into prince, Rasha, which means prince. Right? If I'm saying it right. Salaki if I'm not saying it right. But basically goes into being prince. Russia basically means prince. So it says chief prince, that's another way we know that that's talking about Russia. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, right? So that USSR mentality, which they're in that. They're already threatening, they're already in their submarines on the coast of America, on the coast of the Black Sea. They're showing forth their power. And I just seen an article today when I woke up this morning saying Russia is winning the war. Right? So it says, I will bring thee forth and all thy armies and horses and horsemen and all them clothed with all sorts of armor, right? Military gear, right? And that's what they are. They're in their military gear right now. Even a great company, right? Because like I was saying, they said that even Egypt just joined the BRICS. So you got Russia, China. That's a lot of people. Russia, China. Believe you got some of those Hamitic, Ethiopia. Well, I guess it can go into it right here. You know what I mean? The other Kush, which goes into Egypt, which basically that's what it is. So Egypt just signed over to the end with them. So it says all sorts of armor, right? Military with a great company, with buckler and shields, and all of them handling sword. In the modern day sword is what, guns, all the way to the ICBM missile. Yeah, your drones and all that things are guns. It says Persia, Ethiopia. See, Persia, which is Persia, that modern day Persia, what they call now is Iran, and you can look it up. If you type in Iran is Persia, it'll show you that Iran is actually, those people are Persians. So Iran, I mean Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, Libya, which those are Hamitic people, with them, and all of them with shield and helmet, right? So they're gathering into these people, China, Russia, all these different places. Iran. Let me go into this. Let me go skip down to 7, because that's the most important. Be thus prepared, right, and prepare thyself, right. Thus, and thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thus a guard unto them. Who? Unto Persia, which is what? Modern day Iran, which Israel, who's the little one, a small one, should draw you out into the war. So Israel's going to draw them into that major war with Russia, which they're pretty much already fighting under this Ukraine proxy war, and they're losing. So we skip down, but going to the thing that all those people their dreams, and the things that's happening. It says and thus say I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, which that's America, man. Because you all this time you just used the ocean because you've never really been attacked. To make a fake attack like the Twin Towers being attacked like that was the worst mistake you could ever have done. Because all the other nations was like, oh, they can just allow that to happen? Even though it was fake, or maybe not fake, whatever it was, it allowed people to go, oh, they can get gotten in. So all these other nations are not afraid of you now. Right? You run a 20-year war in Afghanistan or wherever they were at, 20 years, and you leave and those same people take over in a week. You look weak. Nobody's afraid of you. That's why Russia's like, they're popping up on the course of your shores with submarines, unafraid. They're giving Venezuela's the Su-37 or whatever, the Su-35 or whatever it is, jets to fight against you. And they're that's a close. That's like your backyard to make an enemy like that. So the Lord said, what they're gonna invade you. So it says, go up to the land of unwalled villages, and I will go to them that are at rest. Right, in America, you're at rest even now. All these things is happening. People are saying they had these dreams. This thing is going on. The Silicon Bank is collapsed, which goes into that debt. You know what I mean? And what? You guys are playing. You're at rest. That dwell safely, right? All of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates, man. You guys are not ready, man. You are not ready. You're not prepared. So they're coming to invade America, man. So, yeah. Yeah, so this is Luke 21 and 25. See, because all these things, calls, reactions, solution type thing. The solution is people know that you're the cancer of the earth now, right? Even Satan is fighting against Satan, man. So this is how bad you are, man. You have to be the devil of all devils, that even the devil is saying you're the devil. And everybody's fed up of you. So the whole thing is just like I was saying, the thing called blowback. What's happening is now these places are not having water. The rivers are drying up. All these things are going to happen. The Lord is going to allow it to happen. The chariots are going around making things happen. Right? Preparing the way for the salvation of the elect. Right? And it says, Luke 21 and 25, and there shall be signs in the sun, right? We've been having these eclipses and all these different things. And in the moon, right? These blood moons and all these different things that's happening. And in the stars, right? The stars have been fallen stars, all sorts of different things. The stars twinkle a different way. And sometimes you think it's a star, but it's really a chariot, man. And upon the earth, what? Upon the earth, distress of nations. So what's happening with this water and all these different things? And all this thing, all the fingers point towards what? America, man. Because you've been the face of nothing but rebellion, right? And warmongering, and stealing oil and diamonds and jewels and uranium and all sorts of things, right? And really just causing havoc upon the on the earth, right? Earthquakes, right? Using your heart machine to cause earthquakes, using your heart machine to dump tons and tons of snow on Southern California. I mean, maybe it's you, maybe it's the Most High, but at the end of the day, everybody's finger is pointed at you. How long? They're gonna make a proverb of you, man. So it says now, because now that this is because of you, there's the distress of nations with perplexity. The sea, right? Because the Lord said it's gonna be like He's angry with the rivers and the sea. The sea and the waves roaring, right? Even out in the ocean, the waves roaring, right? And then sea also go into people too. You know, sometimes it's when you see that, it could be talking about the people, right? Because it's going into what, like yeah, I think this one's going into like the people, I believe so, and not really necessarily the sea like that. Yeah, see the sea and the waves roaring. Yeah, because it's going into like the race wars. People are going to be rioting, all these different things. Yeah, it's going into people. See, right? It's gonna follow, because this one's talking about people, and it says men's hearts failing them for fear. Right? See, and that's talking about the men. Man, it's going to be riots and fighting all over the world. Man, you're not going to have a break, man. and for looking after the things which are come on the earth, for the power of heaven shall be shaken, man. So all these governments are what? They're gonna end up shooting ICBM missiles on each other, and it's gonna shake the whole entire earth. Why? Because what? Something's gonna have to happen, man. The Lord's gonna have to raise up a standard for the elect. When you got all these different troops, Russian troops, Chinese troops, you got the American troops, you got these regular American Edomites hunting down the so-called Negro, so-called Latino, so-called Hispanic, and them fighting amongst themselves, man. The Lord is going to have to be a very hiding place for the elect, man. You know what I mean? So it says, and then shall they see the Son of Man. See, and that ultimately the Lord is here to come to save the elect, man. That's salvation. Son of Man, which is another way of saying Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, come in a cloud with power and great glory. Right? The same thing is said in that other verse, man. Said with the chariots, man. And those chariots is clouds is another way of saying chariots, man. And it's coming for that salvation of the elect. So call all them Yahweh Basham, Yahweh Shai Basham, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well. Salutations to the Akim and the Four Winds, preaching in truth, sincerity, risking their lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, the elect. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through their father, and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, you Akwatium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. Shalom and a Baba Ball.